Hello everyone, welcome to another video on the channel and welcome to a Gran Turismo 7 opinion piece. In this video I'm going to talk about Gran Turismo 7's sport mode and I'm going to give you 5 things I would like to see over and above what we had in GT Sport, which I think would improve the game overall. So at the time of recording this video, Gran Turismo 7 is only 125 days away, and I think it's fair to say, given the second reveal trailer or the kind of second major trailer at the PlayStation Showcase last month, and in the sort of last few days a sort of series of behind the scenes videos, that they are very much trying to build up the hype for the game. So we're seeing some interesting things, some very clever ways of revealing tracks. It looks like Deep Forest Raceway, Apricot Hill Raceway, and possibly Grand Valley from the kind of original roster of tracks has been confirmed, and there's a lot of speculation that Silverstone is also involved. So I think it's fair to say they're starting to build up the hype for the game, but one thing we've not seen any of or any mention of is Gran Turismo 7's sport mode. So before we get into the 5 things that I'm going to hope are going to be included in the game or changed for the game, I think it'd be fair to say that they're not going to kind of mix the format up too much. Gran Turismo Sport has been incredibly successful. The format works well, the formula works well, so they're still going to try and cater for that more casual player basis out there. And I think it would be silly for them to try and change things too much, try and kind of go too semi or hardcore if you like. So they're still going to very much cater for that kind of more casual player base. So with that said, one thing I would like them to do though is to just maybe give an option for the players out there who are looking for a more kind of semi or hardcore experience. I hate to use those words, but there's really no other word that I can think of that kind of explains it. But it is also fair to say, over kind of Gran Turismo Sport's lifetime, there has players who have kind of played the game, they've enjoyed it, but they've then wanted something a little bit more, something a little bit more in-depth in terms of simulating the racing experience. Gran Turismo Sport does take a kind of more easy or user-friendly approach, but I would like them to kind of maybe bring in a kind of race D or a race E, or hopefully, I don't know how many kind of daily races are going to be available on launch, but hopefully, my opinion, hopefully one of them is going to kind of more cater towards that kind of hardcore simulator approach. And I don't see any harm in having maybe one of the races kind of trying to attract that kind of player. So what can they do to kind of simulate the game up a little bit more? Well, here's my list of things that I'd like to see included. Longer race lengths. The current longest daily race we get at the moment is usually around about 20 minutes, so somewhere around 40 minutes to the hour. The use of weak or no ABS, particularly I'd like to see the use of weak, because I think it requires the driver to be a little bit more finesse with the brakes, a little bit more gentle, kind of consider their braking a little bit more rather than just using the default ABS, which is very much a crutch in my opinion. You can just stamp the pedal, the car will stop, you can trail brake all the way into the apex, and you can generally have no dramas with the braking. Realistic tyre and fuel multipliers, so generally keep the kind of tyre weight at ×1 in the fuel. That's something where we can kind of then have to take some fuel on. Closer rolling starts. Have you seen the footage at the beginning of this race that I'm kind of just showing here? We know we can do closer rolling starts within GT Sport. Let's get the magic of that lap 1, so that you know, we're fighting for positions over the first few corners, first few laps, and the field is nice and close together. Let's get the use of some heavy damage in there. I know that's not a popular opinion, but if we're going to kind of try and encourage players to kind of think about what they're doing a little bit more, let's make sure we have that heavy damage in there. I kind of like the way GT Sport does its heavy damage. It's not totally game breaking, you know, you can kind of get into the pits and get the damage repaired and then carry on with your race. I'd like to see kind of the pit stops be more player controlled, so you drive right in the pits, you've got to slow down for the line, you've got to respect the white lines on the entry and exit. And one other thing I'd like to see, I think it'll be an unpopular opinion, but given I'm a cockpit player and I have to deal with the disadvantages of that over, I'd maybe like to see an option where races lock you into the cockpit view, a bit like iRacing. Now I know that won't be a popular opinion, but I would like to see it. Anyway, moving on to number 2 would be a reworking of the classes. Now this is something that a lot of people out there who make videos have kind of commented on, and I think it's an absolute fair comment. We're looking at Group 1 here. Group 1 is a mess. We've got modern day LMP1s mixed in with cars that are 25 years older than them, like the Group Cs, and then we've got the Vision Gran Turismos as well. So I think it'd be super beneficial to the Group 1 class for them to kind of split them up, give us the modern day LMP ones, give us a Vision Gran Turismo class, and give us a Group C class, because generally when it's a Group 1 race, these cars just aren't used. Or a lot of the cars are not used for that reason. Group 2 kind of suffers from the same problem to a much lesser extent. We've got the 2016 models and the 2008 models. Everybody uses the 2006 models all the time. The 2008 models are left unused. We know from the trailers there's going to be a lot more cars that are going to be suitable for the Group 2 class, so definitely be nice to see them kind of split up the Group 2 class to kind of incorporate that. And Group 3, not so bad, but there's some cars out there like the McLaren and the Aston Martin DBR9 GT1, which are just not really suited for the class. Now we know from the trailer we're going to have the Mercedes CLK added to the game, and I think from another one we've seen the long tail McLaren F1 as well, so like a GT1 class. I don't know how they would name it, and I think there should be some other cars within the game that would maybe be suitable for that as well. I think the Nissan R390 is a shoe-in to appear at some point. But yeah, let's get the car classes worked out. But going by this image and one of the kind of more recent trailers where this 1993 Alfa Romeo touring car appears to be slotted into the Group 4 category, I think the classes getting separated or being better split up is looking like a little bit like a pipe dream at this point. Number 3 on my list is one that I always hammer on about, and that is to reduce the strength of the slipstream. The current strength of the slipstream, in my opinion, is one of the biggest problems in GT Sport, because it's just so powerful. You go onto a straight like this on Fuji, we're in the RCZ here, we're coming up behind an Aston Martin Vantage V8. It's got much more power down the straight, but because we're in the slipstream, it's just no contest for the RCZ to go for that move or to get into a position to make that move. And you see the distance we were behind the Aston Martin there. It's far too strong. I think it creates far too many problems, and I'd like them to go back to the previous strength, which we'll demonstrate here with a couple of Lamborghinis, where when you kind of came out onto the straight behind another car, it was just not a formality to get into the slipstream and then be able to go for the pass. Now this is not the best example here. Obviously the Lamborghini in front has gone quite defensive, but you can see we're just not getting anywhere near the same pull from the slipstream, and you'd have to be a lot closer to then sort of gain the slipstream and be able to go for a move. And it's always nice to try and earn an overtake, if you ask me. Number 4, we have the return of the penalty system, of course. Now it has been, as you can see on the video there, this was a little kind of mock appeal video I did for the penalty system in a previous video. I'll leave a link to that video because it's actually quite amusing. If you've never seen the appeal that we did for the penalty system, it's quite funny. But it's just some examples of the penalty system getting it right and some examples of the penalty system getting it wrong. But I think it'd be fair to say now that the penalty system's been gone for nearly 5 months, over 5 months, 11th of May 2021. According to my text on the screen there, since we last had the penalty system. This is a conscious decision from PD to not have the penalty system in the game. Now I'm taking that as, I don't know, I'm taking it as kind of that they're working on a new penalty system for Gran Turismo 7. Now it will be interesting whether they go for the traditional penalty system that they've had in GT Sport. Very unique to racing games, to be perfectly honest with you. No other game that I am aware of has tried to kind of have a penalty system in the game where it punishes you with slowdowns depending on your behaviour, tries to calculate what car is responsible for collisions. Most other racing games just have a shared blame system, Assetto Corsa Competizione, iRacing. I think that says a lot. It does sort of tell me that kind of getting a penalty system that works the way that Polyphony Digital seem to have their intention seems to be incredibly difficult if no other developers are trying to kind of police their games in that manner. So, but it will be very interesting to see what GT7 does in terms of the penalty system. But I do hope it returns. I hope it returns new and improved and works the way it's intended. But that's definitely something I like to see come back. Now, as a kind of top split daily race player, I tend to not suffer from the lack of the penalty system as much as the lower classes. But for the benefit of all the other people who are playing, I would like to see the penalty system return and be working and new and improved. And number 5, this is a bit of a wild one out there. Maybe an idea before, at the beginning of each day when you play the game, before you're going to enter a daily race, you have to earn your daily race pass. Now this would just be a kind of mini game where you kind of go into a very short circuit in a slow car, maybe in a lobby where you could actually demonstrate more than 20 players, because it would just be a very simple kind of track, something like we're on the short version of the Red Bull Ring here. They could have their kind of new weather system working at 100 times multiplier, so the weather would just be changing constantly. And the idea of this would be that you have to kind of drive in a certain manner for maybe 10-15 minutes to then earn your kind of each of your passes, E, D, C, B, A, S. And once you've earned your daily race pass, you can then go into enter the daily races and also maybe earn your reward card for this as well. Now the idea behind this is to kind of just give that kind of tiny little wall to players who are wanting to enter daily races, that you have to go in and earn it. And I kind of always found that, you know, the people who want to play the game properly will be quite happy to do something like this, or will just put the time aside to then make the effort to earn their daily race pass. And the players who are willing to make that kind of effort, you're generally going to find are going to kind of treat the races a lot more serious than somebody who isn't willing to spend 10-15 minutes earning their daily race pass. Now this would be something that people with much better ideas than me, sorry I'm just banging my monitor there if there's a bang on the microphone, this would be something that people who are much better ideas would kind of have to maybe refine, because obviously this could then be something that players could go in and mess about with. But the idea would be, yeah, you go into this kind of fun mode, it's not serious, and basically you have to earn points to then fill up your bar to get the top daily race pass earning, you know. So if there was kind of more serious races out there, you would have to get like an S pass. If you only wanted to enter daily race A, maybe you only need a C pass. Daily race C, maybe you need an A pass for that. And you would earn points by driving close to other cars without contact and just generally exhibiting good behaviour on track. But eventually you fill up your daily race pass for the day. And if you then have a bit of a wild race and lose a lot of points, then maybe you have to come back into this mode to then sort of refill your pass. You know, maybe you've went into one race with an S pass, you've had a couple of moments and you went down to a B pass, so you've got to come back in and earn from B back up to S. Bit of an out there idea, I know, just something I kind of thought of as I was creating the video. Let me know what you think of this one. Let me know what you think of the ideas in general. We've blabbered on for a good 12.5 minutes here now. You're probably sick of the sound of my voice, but let me know what you think of my ideas and give me some of your ideas of what you would like to see in Gran Turismo 7 Sport Mode in the comments. But until then, if you've made it to this point, you're a true trooper of the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. Goodbye now.